Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to be setting up the PlayStation 4 Slim, and this video is intended for beginners, so those of you that might not have owned a console before, or maybe those that haven't owned a console in a good 10 or 15 years. So when you get the console, it will have quite a few leads and stuff in the package. So first of all, have a look at the back of your PlayStation 4. This is where most of the connectors are. Now if you have a look here, this is where we're going to be plugging in the power cable. This one here is an auxiliary port for things like the PlayStation camera. This one here is the HDMI port that you have to connect up to view the PlayStation on your TV. And this one here is an Ethernet port where you would connect up a wired Ethernet cable if you didn't want to use the Wi-Fi. This has got Wi-Fi built in as well, so it's up to you, but a wired connection will always be a better connection. So first of all, let's get the power cable. That's this cable here. This one has a UK plug, that's the reason it looks like that. Depending on the country you're in, your plug will obviously look different. And this end here is the bit that plugs into the PlayStation. So with this end, it can be plugged in either way round, either that way or that way. It will make the connection both ways, it doesn't make a difference. So that's that one plugged in. Now this cable here, this is a HDMI cable. So this cable will provide picture and sound to your TV. So we're going to plug this one in to this one here. Now it can only go one way round. If you try plugging it in the wrong way, it's not going to work. So it's the flat bit at the top. So you can see the flat bit here will go up, and that plugs fully in like so. So make sure everything is pushed fully in. So basically that's the basic connections we need there. But what I would recommend is, I really would recommend using a wired connection for the internet signal. You don't get this in the pack, but this is an Ethernet cable. These cables are very common, they're not expensive, and you can get them in numerous different lengths. So if possible, try and use a wired connection. As I say, this has got Wi-Fi, so it will work on Wi-Fi. But depending on the distance you are from your router, or you might know this as a router if you're not from the UK, then the further away from this you are, the worse the Wi-Fi signal is going to be. So if possible, use a wired connection, but obviously if this is right the way across the house, there might not be an option to run a wired cable. So with these, again, you can only plug them in one way round. So on this one it's the pins up the top, and they just click into place like so. If you want to release them, there's a little tab underneath that you just press and pull out. So that's the tab that you press to release. Plug them like there. And then on your router you should find that you will have 4 spare ports on the back, or you might be plugging it into a switch. But it doesn't matter which one you use, just use any one of the empty ones. On this particular BT one, this is a UK router, you have to plug it into one of the yellow ports here. Okay. Now the controllers are wireless, but to sync it up to the PlayStation 4, you have to use the USB to micro USB cable just the first time. Or if, for example, you then start connecting this up to your Android mobile phone, or you bring it round to one of your friends' houses and you use their PlayStation with your controller, when you bring it back to here again, you will have to resync it to this PlayStation 4, because when you bring it to your friend's house and sync it to their PlayStation 4, then it will no longer be synced to this one. So it's really easy to do this. You use the USB to micro USB cable. Now this is the one you actually get with the PlayStation 4, but you can use your own one. You'll probably find that if you've got an Android phone, it uses one of these cables, or you can buy a longer one if you want to sit further away from the PlayStation 4. So with this one, if you have a look, you've got 2 USB ports at the front here and here, and again they will only work one way round. So if you try to plug it in the wrong way, it won't go. Don't force it. So that looks like it's plugged in, but as you can see, it hasn't gone all the way in. I can just still see a bit of the metal. So turn it round and plug it so it goes all the way in. Now that's gone all the way in. So you can plug it into either port, it doesn't make a difference. And then you plug the micro USB into the top here. And again, you have to plug it the right way around. So at the moment, if you have a look at that, that's the wrong way. It has to go that way round. So if you try to plug it in the wrong way, it's not going to go. Don't force it. Just turn it round 180 and then plug it all the way in so it goes like that. Right, so that's this side done. Remember, we haven't actually plugged it into the electrical supply yet. What we then have to do is we have to get the other end of the HDMI cable and plug that into the TV. So your TV has to have HDMI ports on it. If it doesn't, then you can get little converters. If you've got a VGA port, you can get HDMI to VGA, but it would be best to play it on a TV with HDMI ports. So let's just bring the camera up here. Now, it doesn't matter which port you put it in initially. If you want things like HDR, that's high dynamic range, then you will have to read the manual on your TV to find out which one is HDR enabled. So on this TV, I know it's the yellow one down here, but you might find on your TV that all ports are enabled. Or your TV might not have HDR. You don't need to have HDR to play the PlayStation 4. It's just that some games will have better colour if you've got, for example, a 4K TV with HDR, then the games may look better, even though the PlayStation 4 Slim is not going to output 4K. The highest resolution you're going to get out of the PlayStation 4 Slim is 1080p. But still, if you've got a good TV and it enables HDR, you might as well use that port, because then if the game you've got has HDR, which is very few games at the moment as of January 2017, but if it does have HDR, it's going to look a lot better. So again, you just plug it into the TV and push it all the way in, like so. Right, so you need to remember the port that's in, because we will have to switch the TV to that port. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the PlayStation 4. So we're now going to plug it in. And to turn it on, we just use this little button down here. And it will take a few seconds to boot itself up. And at the moment you can see that the controller is flashing amber on and off. This basically means it's charging, because right now I haven't synced it up yet with here. It'd be when I press the PlayStation button when I get the TV working. So to change the settings on your TV, again, you're going to have to go to something called source or input. It will vary depending on the TV you've got. But on this one, if I go to source, that allows me to change all the inputs. And I need to go to HDMI 1. Now, I happen to know that this is called HDMI 1 on this one. But on your TV, it might physically say HDMI 1, HDMI 2, VGA, composite, it might have them all listed. So it should become apparent which one is HDMI 1, and then you just press OK or enter. Just to show you what it looks like on some other TVs, on this remote control here it says input, and if I press input, you want to move it down to HDMI 1 or HDMI 2. On this TV it's down as source, it's rubbed away but you can just barely make it out there. So on this one it's not called input, it's called source, and if you press source it will bring up this menu here, and you can see again, you will scroll through it and you want to be looking at the HDMI 1 or HDMI 2. On this TV it's down as input, and if you press input it will bring up this menu here, and then you'd be looking to move it to HDMI 1 or HDMI 2. On this TV it's down as source, and if you were to press source you can see that you've got the options up here. You've got HDMI 2 there, HDMI 1 and HDMI 3, and then on this particular TV you can name it to what you want. And then it will bring up the PlayStation screen, and then from this screen then you can hit your PlayStation button and you should find that your controller will go to blue because this is the first controller connected. Now, once this is connected like this, we no longer need this charging cable. So if your controller is fully charged, it does take a while to charge them, but once it's charged, we can now unplug this, and we don't need this cable any longer. We only need to keep this cable for charging. So when the batteries die or start to die on here, just plug in the charging cable, and you can still play while being plugged into the charging cable, and then when it's charged up again, you can just unplug it. And that's it. Then what will happen is, remember, this PlayStation here has already been set up, but it will talk you through what you need to do, because you need to have a PlayStation account, and it will talk you through the different settings and stuff. And to insert a disc into the PlayStation 4 Slim, you do it picture side up, so you're going to have the mirrored side down, like that, and you just push it in like that. Now when it comes to eject it, if you have a look here, you've got a little symbol here next to the on and off here, and this will eject the disc. So if you were to press that button there, it will eject it. Now when it comes to buying games, especially if this is for a birthday, you want to be able to play the game on the day. Now something like this game here is fine because this doesn't require any additional subscriptions, but if you have a look at this game here, it does say in the corner, internet connection and PlayStation Plus required to play. So on this particular game here, you have to have PlayStation Plus to be able to play it. So this game would be no good if you wanted to set up the PlayStation straight away and you didn't want to pay for any other subscriptions. You wouldn't be able to play that. But most games you can play without a PlayStation Plus subscription. It basically allows you to do multiplayer, but to just play it normally you don't need to have to do the multiplayer. So for example, a game like this, there's no warnings on it to tell you that you have to have PlayStation Plus, so you don't need it. But just bear that in mind, because you might not want to go out and have to pay another subscription. When it comes to turning off your PlayStation 4 Slim, all you need to do is hold down the PlayStation button, and it will bring up this menu here, and then you go down to power, and it's up to you. You can turn it off completely, or you can put it into rest mode. So if you read what it says there about rest mode, good thing about this one is you can charge up your controller. So if your batteries are getting low, then you can plug in your charger, and in rest mode it will charge up your controller. Or if you want to turn it off completely, you just go down to that one there and press X, and then it says preparing to turn the PS4. Do not unplug the AC power cord when the power indicator is flashing. So if you have a look down here, this will continue to flash for a while, and when it goes out completely, only then is it safe to actually unplug it from the electrical supply in the wall. There you go. So now it's safe to completely unplug. One thing I forgot to mention on the controller, it also comes with a very basic microphone and speaker. So if you want to use this to do online gaming and chat to your friends, all you need to do is plug the 3.5mm jack into the hole here, and then what will happen is the sound from your game will come through this little earpiece here. So remember, this is only mono because it's only coming through on one earpiece. So if you like the idea of doing this, you can go out and buy yourself a better headset. And really the only thing you need to remember is, if you look at this here, you will see that it says off on mic. So at the moment that mic is on and that's off. So if you don't want people to hear the conversations you're having, keep it to off. If you want to speak to people online, put it to on. Okay, I hope you found the video useful. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.